So as you're birthing strength and wisdom in your consciousness, strengthening it, you've got all of these wonderful powers that are coming down during this momentous time of Easter. And Flower tells us that often the powers of this season bring spiritual testings to those who wish, freely and consciously, to prove their dedication. Because it is a cleansing period when the world, and I think this is really amazing, when the world, dedicated or not, is washed anew by the baptism of Christ. The whole world, whether they are aware or not, is washed anew by the baptism of Christ. I stand here before you as someone who has been washed anew by the baptism of Christ. Towards the end of Nathan's life, it was placed in my consciousness that I had brought him into the world and I had to be the one to give him back to God. Freely and consciously, I had to give him back to God. I knew Nathan and I had to be alone in the room at the time he was to go. And so it was. When the time came and his breathing stopped, the most beautiful smile of recognition appeared on his face, and he was gone. And a little while ago, my father, who's in the world of spirit, had told me that when they came for him, it would be quick. And when it happened in an instant. But he had such a beautiful smile of recognition on his face. Now, my sole focus in accompanying Nathan on his journey back to God was to support him in completing his life's plan. I thought that was my purpose. He had chosen me to be his mother because he had confidence that I could do this. But I just had this epiphany yesterday. My spiritual testing was to see if I could love enough to let go. I think I loved enough to let go because I never once cried out to God and asked, why Nathan, why me? And in the moment he left, though, in my mind, I panicked and said, oh, no. And then at the same time, I was like, no, go, because I wanted him to leave unencumbered, freely and consciously, travel lightly back home. And since Nathan returned home to the inner worlds, I've put a lot of time into researching and studying surrender and suffering because my son paid a high price for the gift that he gave me, and I don't want any of it to be wasted. Now, recently, Saint Elizabeth of the Trinity has made herself known to me through her writing. Elizabeth of the Trinity, it turns out, was a patron saint of sick people. She was a Carmelite nun who died in 1906. She was only 26. She died from Addison's disease. But although she had a very short life, she's known for her profound awareness of God's indwelling presence. And she writes beautifully. And of suffering, she says, in times of greatest suffering, think the divine sculptor is using the chisel to beautify his work. Then remain at peace beneath the hand that shapes you.